No, it's been a minute since I've done these top Super Nintendo videos, and I sincerely apologize for that. That is completely my bad. But I am here to finalize the series. Are you ready? Are you ready for number 3? I don't think you're ready. Any guesses? Was that pitchly correct? I don't know. But yes, The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is most definitely on my top 10 list, and it is number 3 because it is a really fucking good game. I mean, really, need I say more? But besides the fact that it's a really good game, I have some really fun, fond memories with it. Growing up, like in 3rd grade, was it? I think it was 3rd grade. Anyway, I had a friend of mine named Tucker, and he would come over and we would play A Link to the Past. Like, that's all we would do, and I would make a fun game out of it. Every time he came over, I would hide the cart, and I would make him find it, and then he'd have to search through drawers and drawers to try to find the cartridge. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. In retrospect, I realized it just delayed the awesomeness of us playing the game, but hey! Want to hear another fun memory? I remember my grandma showing me A Link to the Past on her Super Nintendo way back in the day. She was trying to, because I was stuck, or she thought I was stuck, so she was trying to show me a part of the game where you're in Kakariko Village and one of the villagers marks your map. When your map is marked, the game makes a certain noise, and she like repeated that over and over and over again because she wanted me to get that that's the noise I'm supposed to be looking for or listening for, and when I hear it, I then have a new objective. I don't know why I remember that, but it just really sticks out in my head, and to think it was God how many years ago and I still remember that like it was yesterday. That's another fun memory. I also in-game LARP the shit out of A Link to the Past. I would have a home in Kakariko Village where I would just like chill out, and then I would go out and like hunt for chickens and try to find rupees and stuff. I probably spent countless hours just dinking around in A Link to the Past, not actually playing it, which is probably part of the reason why I didn't finish A Link to the Past until 3 years ago. Yeah, like I got so close to finishing A Link to the Past when I was a little kid. I was like one fight away from beating the game. I'll avoid spoilers because no one knows who the final fight with A Link to the Past is. But I just never finished it, and I don't know why. I can't remember why I never finished the game. Maybe I was worried that once I finished it I wouldn't be able to like LARP around anymore. I don't know. But I can also appreciate A Link to the Past a lot because, like I said, I just started it over and played it from start to finish for the first time about 3 years ago, like I said. And I just really appreciated, you know, how in A Link to the Past, it's not like you have, like, not like Ocarina of Time, which is my favorite Zelda game, where, you know, you do the 3 dungeons and then you do the temples, and there's this very specific order in which you have to do them, you know, especially in the beginning of the game. And how in A Link to the Past, it's kind of like, oh, you know, open world, like, we're not going to hold your hand. I mean, you do have to do things in a certain order, but it's very open world. Like, almost the entire world is like accessible from the start, and that's really, really freaking cool. And so I love how it's just like, okay, make your own path, make your own game, do your thing, which is also amazing because I know that's kind of the direction they're going with for the new Zelda coming on Wii U, apparently, you know, NX. But anyway, for all those reasons above, A Link to the Past is just rightfully so number 3 on my list. Super Mario RPG! Oh, God, I love this game so much. I just love it so much. Praise this game. So I have a fun history with Super Mario RPG. Rewinding way before the N64 ever released, back when they were just kind of teasing Super Mario 64, I remember reading about Super Mario 64 and I thought Super Mario RPG was Super Mario 64. So when I plugged in Super Mario RPG to my Super Nintendo, plugged it in, I realized it was not Super Mario 64, and I utterly got my ass handed to me because there is this stupid thing called role-play battles and turn-based fights, and I didn't quite get what I was supposed to do, so I got really pissed off, and I just never played it again. I thought it was the worst game ever. Ironic, seeing how it's number 2 on my list. But anyway, so I remember talking to my aunt, and I remember this so vividly, like it was yesterday. I was talking to her on the phone, and I was explaining to her about I was getting my ass kicked by these like Goombas and Koopa Troopas, and it just made no sense. And she said, well, Britt, it's a role-playing game, you just have to level up your character. I was like, huh? Like, what does that even mean? I had never played a role-playing game up until this point. But needless to say, once I figured it out, I was freaking hooked. I love the leveling system. I was just blown away at all the cool new weapons I could acquire and how in battle they actually showed, and it wasn't just like a stock like pixel of a weapon. It was actually like what you had bought and equipped on your character. It was Mario, you know, so that was really, really cool for me, like super duper cool. Not to mention the characters in Super Mario RPG they're just legit, man. Like, I know that's such a cop-out word, but they were so neat, and Mallow and Gino and like all of them, just loved them so much, and they were just so interesting, and especially for me, my first role-playing game, I wasn't used to this kind of stuff before, you know, I had never seen it. So to see all these cool characters and kind of hear their stories, and this is kind of switching gears, but I'm really excited talking about this. Some of the really cool like in-game mechanics that they had, you know, like I remember that when, I don't really want to spoil it, but if you're worried about slight spoilers, like tune out, but it's nothing major. When Peach is marrying Booster, there's a really cool scene where you're with Bowser and you have to break down doors. And in order to break down the door, you have to run into the door at the same time as Bowser. And I thought that was fucking amazing, because I was like, I couldn't do it, but I'm like, I know this is possible. It's just a really cool gameplay mechanic that I just have to master. And you know, once I did, it was super, super, you know, rewarding. I was like, oh, this is so amazing and awesome. Like, it's so cool that a video game made me run into a door at the same time that Bowser did. What, Bowser's in my party? This is so crazy. It's a Mario game. Bowser's supposed to be my enemy. That's just one of the many things. And I loved how in Super Mario RPG you could jump on the NPC's head, and there were certain NPCs that would like walk around, you could just jump on their head and they would just like go around in circles, and all the hidden blocks in the world and the fun little Easter eggs, and god, I could go on and on forever. But yeah, Super Mario RPG, dude, like hands down one of my favorite Super Nintendo games of ever. And now talking about it, I'm just like, I want to play it, I want to play it, I want to play it. Any questions what my favorite Super Nintendo game is? I mean really, come on, is there any question? It's freaking Earthbound, because of course it's Earthbound. It's Earthbound. Oh, Earthbound. So Earthbound is really special to me for a multitude of reasons. The first one that comes to mind is that it's the first game my aunt and I really bonded over. I mean, she and I would just talk the game, we would talk about the characters, we would talk about really funny parts in the game, and for me, you know, being the young kid that I was, I mean, I could have been older than, what, 10? It was really cool to relate to an adult about something so special to the both of us. So for that reason, and you know, my aunt, I think I've told this story, is the one who actually got me Earthbound, so she knew my taste from the beginning, and by this point I had already played Super Mario RPG, so I got the gist of RPGs and how they worked. And I came home from vacation one day with my parents, and my aunt had been house sitting for us, and on the table was Earthbound in its big boxed glory, and I can still remember seeing Earthbound, its box, in the trash can, and then I can still vividly see it burning into embers into the sky as my dad burned the box, because back then we didn't keep the box. Fuck. All my collector friends out there can understand how painful that is for me to recall those memories. Damn. the next reason why Earthbound is so important to me is that it gave me this sense of like an open world that I had never experienced before. I mean, sure, you know, that Super Mario RPG in its sense was kind of open, that you could go from place to place, there are towns to explore, etc. But Earthbound was like the first game I had ever played that I had free roam of cities, and there were museums and beaches I could go to, and I could buy hot dogs and pizzas and hamburgers and juices and go like watch shows and do basically whatever I wanted to do with my time. And for me to have that sense of freedom as a little kid, it was so freaking cool. I could catch a bus to towns if I wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like typical games that I had played where, you know, you just kind of go with the flow. It's a very linear experience. But this, it was very open. It was very like, hey, you know, if you just want to kill some time and on it or Tucson or 3 or 4 side and just kind of look around, do it. Do whatever you want. No rush. And and you know me, I'm an in-game LARPer. So you can only imagine the amount of time I spent LARPing inside of Earthbound. The stories I could tell. I should make a video just like based off of my LARPing experience in Earthbound. Earthbound was also the first game that actually freaked me out. And that is because in the town 3, when you first approach the town and you get all inside his grill and shit, you notice that there are zombies everywhere, zombie dogs, just zombies in general, ghouls, ghosts, like all sorts of creepy like possessed dolls and shit. And I was like, holy shit, this stuff is scary, like, ah! And so whenever I would see a zombie, and the combat in Earthbound is such that you actually see the enemies on screen and then you can run away from them or engage them if you want. Or they'll chase you, or vice versa. And whenever I would see a zombie on screen, I would take refuge in the nearest fucking building. I'd be like, oh my god, I hope they're gone when I get out, because I do not want to engage with those. And another vivid memory I have of this is when I was at my grandma's house, and my grandma or my aunt must have been playing Earthbound. I don't know if my grandma ever played Earthbound, but anyway, I remember because it was on the TV my grandma primarily plays on, and a zombie dog approached, and they engaged in battle, and then on the battle you just see a big sprite of the zombie dog. And it freaked me out because the zombie dog's ribs were like poking out of its body. And I was like, holy crap, that's really scary. But I really liked it at the same time. And later on, after I went through a terrible bout of zombie nightmares because of Resident Evil 2, I went on to become like a major zombie nut. Like, as you know, I freaking love zombies. And Earthbound was the first game that really introduced me to like zombies in game. And so that's really significant as well. And finally, and this is a really silly thing, but in Earthbound you can attend a concert which is performed by a singer named Venus, and you can actually listen to her sing, and by listening it just sounds like a bunch of really weird, I don't even think there's an instrument that can like portray how she sounds, so I can't even give you an example. But you can buy concert tickets and you can go watch the concert, and I was telling my really good friend Reika about this in elementary school. I think I was like 8 or 9. And I told her, I was like, dude, there's this really awesome game that you can go in there, and there's a concert you can attend. And she's like, oh my god, a concert, really? And I said, yes! And so we made plans for her to come over just so I could specifically show her this concert in game. In the game, you're children, so you can relate with the kids, but you're in this big, massive city, and it's something you could never do at the age of 8 or 9, so it's really vicarious. I just love Earthbound so much. I love it so much. I don't know if you can see, and I would like put this all up in the camera's grill, but it might get blurry. But my aunt would often play my game for me if I was stuck on something, and she would level me up, and so she wrote my name on here. It says Britt, because we all had cartridges of Earthbound, and she, you know, had to keep track of whose was who, and that's how that happened. Oh, God. With that said, thank you so much for watching my top 15? I don't know, Super Nintendo games of ever, and thank you so much for being patient. I know this video took forever to put out, but I really appreciate your awesomeness. And thank you so much for the people who would nag me to finish the series, because I really needed it, and I did it thanks to you.